Hi there, welcome back. I am extremely excited to go over this video with you. This is a community effort. Last year, a group of individuals did 8 pen questions for 2024. And so they kind of did a pass the baton where they each filmed a video answering 8 questions about fountain pens, and then they uploaded them in a certain order on certain days. This year they're doing it a little different. This year it's just a lot to take on. So I was reading in Simone's Discord, and that is where they have posted all of this. So if this is something you're interested in, you can check out her Discord. I will link Simone's channel down below. I'm not sure how they do the Discord invites, but I'm sure you can message her and ask her about an invite if you're looking to join the Discord. Anyway, so there's not a schedule or a certain day that people are posting. Everybody that is participating is just going to film their video and post it when they see fit and have time. And then Simone is going to link the playlist, I think is what she had mentioned, for everybody's videos. All right, so we're just gonna hop right in. I don't want to bore you with any intro things, so we're just gonna hop right in. So this is hashtag 8 more pen questions 2025. All right, so we're just gonna start. I'm gonna read the questions off. All of these questions were chosen by the members of the Discord. We added which questions we wanted to talk about, and then we voted which ones we thought were the best. So all of the questions were voted on by members in the Discord. So question number 1, do you have different uses for your pens? Yes, I absolutely do. I journal with some pens. I write my planner with others. The ones that I write my planner with don't tend to be journaling pens for certain reasons. So this pen, for example, is one of my planner pens. It is actually really smooth to write with, but I don't really care much for it for journaling. Plus, I like to keep document ink in it so I can use it whenever I need to sign documents or for permanent ink. So I like to have more fun colors and things like that in my journal. So this pen tends to stay inked up with document black, so I can always have that available if I need to. Most of my other pens are journaling pens. I don't really have anything that is meant for anything other than that. I have like purse pens, but those tend to be cheap pens that I can throw in my purse. So something like the Kakuno. This is a great pen, but it's also like $14. So if it were to get lost or misplaced, it wouldn't be like losing one of my other pens. So that one, I just kind of, toss it in my purse or wherever if I need to. It's also a pen that I wouldn't mind lending someone. I'm not going to lend somebody some of my more expensive other pens just because I know not everybody knows how to write with a fountain pen, and I don't want to risk damaging a nib for one of my more expensive pens. Number 2, how do you choose the inks and pens you will use next? So I generally choose my inks first, and then I'm not really matchy-matchy, though sometimes I do like to have things match, or at least be neutral body with the bright colorful ink or bright colorful body with the neutral ink. but I do tend to pull the inks that I want to write with. I know if I, like for the month of February, I wanted pinks and some shimmer, some fun things to play around with for one, for my birth month, and 2, for Valentine's Day. So I chose most of the inks that I wanted. I did do a small order of samples that I wanted to try to find like a dusty pink, and I really still haven't found what I was looking for. Well, I take that back. I did kind of find a pink I was looking for, but the bottle wound up being contaminated, so now I don't have that bottle. So, but yeah, I tend to pick inks first. Number 3, which pen do you prefer for longer writing sessions? For now, and that's how a lot of these questions are going to be answered for now, these can change. They have changed over the years. They can change next week. But as of right now, the Esterbrook SD pens, or pens in this shape, I actually have a Zodiac Pen Co. company that's very similar in body, style, and shape. This pen, both of these, are very comfortable for me to write with. So as of right now, I'm going to say that the Esterbrook SD, or this style of pen, is generally going to be my go-to when I'm writing for long sessions, because it fits my hand well. I'm not a poster. I don't like to post my pens. So I like them to be a little weighty, but not too much. And just the way that I hold my pen, I want it to be comfortable. So for example, like the nib size, if I, I feel that I'm more comfortable with a longer nib size, because I do kind of hold up on the collar of the pen, or what grip section of the pen. I do tend to hold up on it a little closer, so I like my nib to have a little bit of space, so I'm not like right up on the paper. This one is a little harder for me to hold and write with, just because the nib is so tiny. So when I go to hold it, my hand gets in the way when I'm writing. So I tend to angle it up more, which makes it a little harder to write and not as comfortable. So for me, the Esterbrook SD style pen is going to be my preferred for longer writing sessions. Number 4, what is your all-time favorite pen? Again, this is for now. I've not owned all the pens, so it's hard to determine what pen I might enjoy more in the future. But as of right now, this is my favorite pen. It's a Pilot Custom 743 in verdigris. This has kind of everything that I don't necessarily get. It gives me everything from the SD, but it gives me a little more. So I guess that's why I like this one so much. So I'll pull the SD back out and show you. It has a very similar shape. The nib is very similar in length and size. They are very, very close. Body size and shape are very similar. So this is very comfortable for me to write with for long sessions. The weight is similar. I really like this pen. The only difference in these two pens and what makes me enjoy the 743 more than the SD is the gold nib. It just writes different. It has just, I don't know, there's just a little bit something that makes it more comfortable, that makes me want to reach for it more. And I mean, it may be also that I paid more for it, so I want to use it subconsciously, but ultimately it ticks all the boxes as of right now. It's the shape, the style, the weight. The color, green is my favorite color. And then it has a gold nib, which just gives it one little bit extra in there. So right now, this is my favorite all-time pen. That could change. Number 5. If you had to choose one nib size, which would it be? So this has changed over the years, and I'm sure it'll change again. But for now, medium, I think, would be my choice. I really enjoy the fineness of a fine nib. And in Hobonichi and like the smaller grids, I really love an extra fine. It just looks so nice in it. But when I'm writing, I found that I enjoy the smoothness. And so right now, medium fits that bill. I don't really care for broad too much. So I think if I had to choose one nib, I can make a medium work pretty much in anything, which is surprising. I do have pretty tiny handwriting, but there are some instances where it's a little too big. But yeah, for the most part, I can make a medium work in pretty much anything. So I would go with a medium for now. Number 6. What is your favorite nib grind? Currently, I only have one. It's from, I think, 2018. Mark Bacchus did a Japanese extra fine on a TWSBI nib for me. I love Japanese extra fine. Like, it's just such a nice itty bitty tiny writer. And so I had my Decimo that I purchased with an extra fine nib, and it was so tiny, and I loved writing with it, but the European extra fine was just a little bit thicker. And so I messaged him and asked if that was something he could even do, and he said he was glad to try it. And so I bought the nib. I just bought the nib from him and let him grind it there instead of sending him my pen. And I really love that nib still. It's very smooth. It's not scratchy at all. You would think it would be like, it's because it's so tiny, but it writes really well. It's still a great nib. I don't really use it a lot. I think I had it on my Diamond 580 in December, but it's not something I really reach for a lot because I've been journaling more with my pens, and I do prefer like a broader. I like to see the ink properties when I write, and I feel like you just see them better in a medium nib. So generally now I will use medium nibs when I'm journaling, but that is the only grind that I have. But currently I am planning on going to the Atlanta Pen Show, and I have an appointment scheduled with Kirk Spear, and I am hoping to get a reverse architect grind for my TWSBI Mini for my little planner pen, because I use it so much in my planner. And I think, I don't know, I'd like to get a couple of them. I'd actually like to get a Yovo nib done the same way. That way I could have one for my journaling, and then I could have it. I really want that grind though for my planner. But yeah, I only have the one grind, but hopefully in the near future, I will have a couple more I'm excited about. Number 7, if you could only use one ink for the rest of your life, what would it be? I mean, it's really a hard choice, but I chose the one that I wrote in this, all of this in. It's Sun Moon Lake Ruby Black Tea by Linen Toolbar. It is currently my favorite ink. I think it's like, it's just the right kind of knot. It's not a red. It's not a blue, obviously, or a black, or, you know, but it's not like a color that associates me with anything, because like red always associated with grading papers as a teacher or getting papers graded as a student. Black is just kind of, I mean, I guess the normal choice would be like a black document ink, but I like color too much. And as much as I enjoy greens, I feel like they're just too dark. So this one's kind of, it's not anything that associates me with anything else. So I think that's why I like it so much. It's nice for fall, which is my favorite time of year. And it's just, it has some nice shading. It's just a really pretty ink. And I liked it so much, I immediately bought a second bottle when I received mine. So it's my favorite ink. And I just kind of laid a little bit of a swatch down so you could see kind of what it looked like. Number 8, what is an absolute deal breaker for you for a pen and for an ink? So for me, a pen, absolute deal breaker is going to be feedback. Sailor pens are, at least sailor pens that I've written with, are no. I do not like the vibration. I feel like I'm pushing the pen, not riding or gliding. I like my pens to glide. I know there's a lot of, I guess, whatever, back and forth over like the glass feel and the, I like my paper to have texture and my pen to be smooth. And I don't really know how to like articulate that into what it feels like for me, but I'm a really tactile person. Things really, they give me the ick. A lot of things do, and writing with the sailor pen, it gives me the ick. It's just that vibration. I don't like it. It really bothered my best like thought of the feeling that I get when I write with the sailor pen. And I actually get this sometimes when other people write with pens like that I'm watching on YouTube. That squeak that I can't. But nails on a chalkboard is like the worst. It just hurts my teeth and my head so bad. And that's the feeling that I get when I write with the sailor nib. It's really unnerving for me, I guess, would be the, I don't really know how to describe it, but that is a deal breaker. If there is feedback like that, it's no. I can't do it. Really, even pens that have like misaligned tines and I try to write with them and they scratch, it just, I don't know, it hurts me. It's hard to explain. But yeah, feedback would be like an absolute no for me. And then ink, I'm gonna say I've only ever found a few inks that I did not enjoy writing with, and it's really just the property of how they perform on the paper, because all of them have performed the same way, which I don't really get. But scented inks, they feather, they bleed. I mean, I'm guessing it's just something that they have added to them, the fragrance or whatever. It's never performed well for me. And I have 2 right now that I'll never use. They're just the, I take that back. I had, is it Myrrh? Is it Diatramentis scented inks? I don't have it anymore. I had to get rid of a whole lot of ink when we moved. We downsized, before we moved here. We downsized to a really small place, and I did not have room for all the inks that I had, so I had to get rid of a lot of them. And I think it's like Myrrh. It's such a pretty green ink, and it had just a faint scent. It wasn't like really strong, like how the Diamine Ink Vent, I have Sweet Candy or something like that, and then the Cinnabon. And both of those are so strong, you can smell them like after you write with them. You can smell them on the paper. They linger for a little while. This one didn't. You could smell it when you were writing with it, but after the ink dried, you couldn't smell it at all. And it had a pleasant scent, and it didn't feather at all. So maybe not all scented inks, but for the most part, any of them that I've really ever tested have feathered. But I think that would be a deal breaker for me, is feathering with ink. If it feathers, I'm not using it. It just, nope, I can't do it. So I guess feathering, we'll go with that instead of scented, because I don't remember. I'll have to look that ink up, because I think that's what it was called, was myrrh. But it smelled good. All right, so there's a bonus question. What is one pen that everyone should have? Hands down, this is the first pen that I started with. Well, it wasn't this pen, but TWSBI Eco is the first pen that I ever bought. And I think that everybody deserves to own a TWSBI pen. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about them, about the cracking or whatever in the body. I have owned, I counted them the other night, I think I've owned at this point like 20 TWSBI pens over the years, and I have only ever had one crack. And at this point, I replaced it in November, December, I think, of last year. It was 10 years old at that point. So, and I'm pretty sure I broke it. I think I over twisted it, because it was broken like right here at the, where the threads are. Well, it's a Diamond 580, so it looks different than this, but it was broken like right where the, when you screw, well, let's just pull the pen out. I'll show you. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh no, TWSBI. Well, they replaced it for $5 for the shipping. And so I basically have a brand new pen now, and it's a special edition, and it's, you know, basically brand new. So right down here where this part unscrews, this part right here was cracked. And I'm pretty sure it was when I screwed this on, I cracked it. I just twisted it too tight. So I try to be a little more careful now. I love this pen. I don't want it to not ever work. But I've also, yeah, I've owned, I want to say at least 20 pens from TWSBI. And this is the only pen I've ever had a problem with that has had something break. And I take my nibs out of my Ecos. I'm not telling you to do it. I do it because I do it. But I take my nib and feed out every time I clean these pens. And I've never had one break. I've never had one crack. I've never had one leak. So I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong. I'm sure that they have quality control, or there wouldn't be so many problems. I'm just saying that I've never had the issues that other people have. I think these are fantastic pens for $32 for the base, like, for this one is $32. This one is a little more because it has the rose gold trims. This one was $49. But at $32 for a starter pen, you get a massive ink capacity. And I think ultimately, once you learn how to fill a piston pen, then you know how to fill pretty much any of them, or it's very similar. Backfills are a little bit different, but you can fill a converter. It's essentially just a smaller piston. So I think once you learn how to do it with this, it just makes it easier to learn with other pens. So to me, this is a good starter pen. It's cheap. It's, you know, it's a good pen. It's reliable. They have really nice nibs. I mean, you could say this one is a little cheaper, but unless you're willing to use the cartridge all the time, you have to buy the converter separately, which is like $7 or so. So then that puts you in the $25 range. And I feel like that the TWSBI is just a little bit, it looks a little nicer, a little more classy. And that may not be what you're going for, but that's just, that's my opinion. But it feels like a nicer quality pen. And actually, I mean, I love the Kakuno. I think these are great little pens after I had my issue with the first one that I had. I love this pen, actually. But I think the TWSBI Eco would be my choice. Everybody should own one. At least once. They're nice pens. All right, I think that's it. I have went over all my 8 questions. Let me know down below if you want to answer any of these 8 questions. Let me know your thoughts on what your favorite, pens would be, or your favorite inks, or what your favorite nib choices are. I would love to carry on a conversation about these 8 questions. I think they're all solid, good questions to ask fountain pen users. So I guess that's going to be it for this one. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and it would mean the absolute world to me if you consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next one.